VonAllen Sports.
Hi, this is tennis player Mariana Dragic, and you're watching VonAllen Sports, real and honest sports analysis. Subscribe now and join the empire. VonAllen Sports, let's go!
Well. Elon Musk finally got his first playoff win. All is right in the world. Woohoo! Let's throw a party. Okay, great. You know, that was complete trash. That was just garbage. That was garbage. Saturday, Patriots was garbage. Yesterday, let's see. Last night, the Steelers was garbage, but in their case, they were just severely outmatched. We kind of saw that coming. This was pathetic, and this was so pathetic specifically because watching this game, I don't even know if you want to call it a game. It was really, I think the Cardinals thought they were at a scrimmage or a practice or something. But it was like watching the Pro Bowl in the sense that not from the actual skill level per se, I guess, it wasn't like both sides were that way. The Pro Bowl, as far as names, every name on these rosters is just ridiculous, especially the Rams. Did the Rams just basically put together the Pro Bowl from 2017 or something? Like, I don't know. Even though I knew, I'm very aware of how many players they got and who they've got and stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's just like a bunch of guys just stacked together that don't seem to make any sense. And it's just, I mean, if they can win like that, they can win the Super Bowl like that. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just funny to see, really. I mean, yeah. How you guys doing? Yeah, Matthew Stafford. Yeah, he looks just like Elon Musk. It's like Elon Musk. When you're a billionaire, you just dress up as a football player. And nobody notices. You just change your name a little bit, and then you get to play for the Rams. See? Kyler Murray sucks. It's just, yeah. I mean, come on. It's not to be the guy that says, "Oh, I told you so" and stuff. But when they drafted him, I don't know if you guys remember this. It was in the very beginnings of Von On Sports. I think it was kind of early on, and can't remember exactly uh, where we were at as far as the channel, but I was making a lot of posts about it, and I did a quarterback evaluation of the draft, and I just said this was the stupidest thing. The Cardinals, they went all in, got a new coach, got rid of everything, you know, overhauled the team. They got the coach in order to get Kyler Murray. It was like and vice versa, I guess. It was a package deal. Basically, that was the foregone conclusion. That's why um, they went in that direction. But I drafted Kyler Murray as one of the worst quarterbacks that was in that draft as far as the ones that would go high ranking, and I thought that he could probably play football at some position, but quarterback was not necessarily something that was going to get you, to a Super Bowl. And that's why, and again, that's why you take a quarterback number one overall. You don't take a quarterback number one overall to get you some games or to get you 7-0 in the regular season and fall apart, when it starts to actually matter. when everyone's paying attention. That's not why you take a guy number one overall. Take a guy number one overall hoping that he gets you a Super Bowl, and you're even hoping that maybe he's a Hall of Famer. That's your expectations. This a guy that completely changes the fortunes of your franchise. He was never that guy, and I don't understand why these teams and these owners keep falling for this crap. It's just there's just I don't know. I have a very I guess I expect a lot from a guy who's number one overall, right? And that's the expectations there are just so massive. So when you take a guy number one, you're putting a lot on his shoulders. You got to make sure that he can handle that. And Kyler was never that guy. He just wasn't. So just a second. I'll look up something here. Aaron Donald's overrated, by the way. 19. People need to understand that when you say somebody's overrated, it doesn't mean that you think they suck. It doesn't mean that you don't think that they're even great players. Overrated, what overrated means is that what the general public and everyone gives a player versus what they're actually doing and what they've actually achieved is not in line. They don't equal. Like you can't overrate Tom Brady, for example. You just can't do that. You couldn't overrate Peyton Manning. They are who they are, and couldn't overrate Lawrence Taylor. That's just any accolades he gets. J.J. Watt when he was in his prime and actually not injured for once. You couldn't overrate him. He was just that effective. But Aaron Donald, he gets treated like that, and I'm sorry. A lot of the accolades he gets are products of his hype, and I don't know. It's ridiculous. So I'm looking at something here real quick. Yeah, I wouldn't have. Let's see, 2019 draft. I would not have gone quarterback at all if I was the Cardinals. I would not have gotten number one. I know that Josh Rosen was not great, not good. I mean, it was weird, but I wouldn't have. Still doesn't mean I would have given the number one pick uh, to 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 Kyler Murray. Basically, if I was the Cardinals, and back then what I proposed was, you've got Josh Rosen. Why don't you go ahead and try to stick with him for a little while longer, build around him, see what he can do. Now they went out and got a bunch of wide receivers and things like that for Kyler Murray, and they built around Kyler Murray, but they also had to fire their coach. So not when they fired their coach, they had to pay their coach and then bring in Cliff Kingsbury. And if you would have kept Josh Rosen and see what you could do with him, then maybe you take the first overall pick that you spent on Kyler Murray and you trade that to some other team that is stupid enough to do that, to do the Kyler Murray or whatever other garbage quarterback. I think the Giants took Daniel Jones or something, but some other team that's dumb enough to take that, they'll give you a whole crap load of picks and maybe even some good players. And that's what you do with it, and you build around and see if Josh has anything. And if that doesn't work, maybe you could even trade for a quarterback. So you could have traded that number one. If you don't believe in Josh, you could have traded that number one possibly for someone else's quarterback that was at least proven. So there's a lot of different options there. That was never the one, and I never thought it was. And I don't care about winning some regular season games. For me, you take a quarterback number one overall, that means Super Bowl time, and that's just these teams draft so badly when it comes to quarterback. It's just awful, utterly pathetic. So it's not going to get any better than this. I was asked why did I call the Cardinals frauds 8 weeks ago when they were still winning and had a good record and stuff. I said because I can see it. I can see it on the field. I can tell the moment that this team gets to the playoffs, it's not going to convert. It's not going to work, and there it is. So Israel sends the first super chat of the night. He says, "Football baby went full on Carson Wentz. Frauds." Absolutely. Absolute frauds. Israel, sorry, buddy. Sorry about your Cowboys. They went just completely idiotic. I will get on that here in a second. This wild card weekend, this was garbage. All right, it was. I mean, it was pathetic. There's just so many teams that you know what it seems like. It seems like every year the wild card. Sometimes you get a good game and stuff, but this year it just felt like warm ups for the teams that are actually supposed to be here. It was like a warm up practice, I guess. Um, I think so. All the games, I went 5-1. Pretty easy to do. Wasn't that hard because everything was kind of just the way everything lined up pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. But I only lost that one because I was stupid and thought Belichick would pull something great and somehow surprise the Bills, take them and by surprise because they were rolling and doing good, and I thought maybe he could sneak something in there. I overestimated that by far, and should have used my head over my heart in that one. But yeah, I even had a bad feeling about that Bills game, and at one point it was just. I mean, I'm talking before it started. I was just like, something's. I don't know. I just don't like this. But oh well. See it twice since a $5 super chat. He says Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. The AFC is in line to dominate the post Brady era. Absolutely true. Funny how all this is happening now. It's like someone had a. Seems like somebody had a mental hold over the rest of the conference. I wonder who that was. So Angel Eliab. Angel, what's up, man? He sent a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, show my support for VonAllen Sports. Let's go. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. It's that college bullshit. It's that college mentality that oh, hey, look, it goes into college and we're gonna throw the ball, we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna do this and then but yeah. Yeah, right. Sure. Okay. Whatever, man. Dude, you've got to be listen, that college shit works for a time, okay? You can kind of get away with it a little bit when you first introduce something new to the NFL, something cute and fancy that all the Cliff Kingsberries of the world are doing. You can get away with that for a little while, but the NFL identifies you really quickly. And what does it always come back to? Every freaking time. It comes back to Fundamentals. If you don't do the fundamentals correctly in the NFL, it's going to catch up with you, and it's just how it is. That pick six that Kyler threw, that's got to go in there for one of the most idiotic plays of the year. And what that comes from is this desperation to always think that you can make a play. It's the Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray kind of mentality, that way of doing things where you think you can always sidearm it or get rid of it somehow, and you think you can always make these plays instead of sometimes just, uh, you know, you were burnt, dude. Take the sack. Just don't throw. I know it's a safety, but come on, in that situation, you were burnt and you threw a pick six because you just decided to throw it in the air because you didn't know what to do. You panicked. That was just panic right there. I need to watch the play again. I saw it live. I didn't see the replay. Maybe there was something more to it, but from what I remember, that looked like a panic situation there. So. And holding on to the ball so long. I mean, just the whole game, just constantly thinking that you can, that running around, that all that crap, gives you a false sense that you're Superman out there. You're trying to play hero ball. You're trying to do it all. This isn't high school. It's not high school. This is the NFL. And even Patrick Mahomes, as he was doing that at a much higher level than Kyler Murray is doing, and even that, started to catch up with them when it came time to a team that could actually figure it out and do something about it and had the personnel to do something about it. And you saw what happened in the Super Bowl. So, and honestly, I don't even care. That blowout of the Chiefs last night against the Steelers, I wasn't that impressed by their performance. I'm not impressed by their performance. The Steelers are a crap team. Okay, they're the worst team that was in this playoffs, in my opinion. They were the worst team, and for the first quarter and then some of the second, the Steelers could have taken this game. If this was any other team that was halfway decent, the Chiefs could have found themselves in a hole in a situation. The Steelers were doing actually a commendable job on defense. They were getting things done. They even got a score. I mean, they got a defensive score. The offense couldn't do a damn thing. They made the Chiefs defense look like the 85 Bears. I mean, it was pathetic how bad they were. Dropping, I mean, just confused on the offense. I mean, everything was just bad. If that was a team, an actual good team that could have capitalized and actually done something on offense, the Chiefs were in trouble. I'm telling you, if that happens next week against Buffalo, if the Chiefs start out like that against Buffalo, they're in a lot of trouble, man. So, but this wild card weekend was really disappointing. I mean, actually, even the 49ers Cowboys game was kind of dull until the very end. It started to pick up towards the end. And then you can always count on the Cowboys to do something idiotic, and that's really what made it interesting. So, Boa Omega sends a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you so much, Boa. He said, should Bill Belichick have his head coaching duties separated from GM duties again? Firing outright is far too soon, but how much is too much? Well, Boa, that would have been a good idea before they let Nick Caserio go. That's exactly what should have happened before they. I even brought that up when the Texans were trying to steal Nick the first time, and then he was still in the contract, so he stayed the extra year. But I proposed that actually, and I said maybe Belichick just focuses on coaching, and Nick becomes the general manager, so we don't lose him, and then he doesn't go to Houston. Because I don't know, man. All that money spent, I didn't see it with the Patriots. I didn't see it on the field, and I know we went over the Patriots game Saturday night, and I don't. You guys probably don't want to hear me complain about that again, but I'm just saying that I did not see all that money. And again, it's a good example though. Tom Brady, all Tom wanted was to be able to have a say and have some input on who he gets around him on offense. Tom wouldn't have got those players on offense that Bill acquired. You saw what Tom did. He put around him Rob Gronkowski, he put around him Antonio Brown, and he put around him Leonard Fournette. And then he picked the Bucs because of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So he identified the right fit and built around himself and knew exactly what he needed. Even when they drafted Tristan Wirfs in the first round, he's an all-pro now. Okay? He was a rookie last year. So Tom said, I want that kid Tristan Wirfs, Bruce Arians, and the general manager Light. Jason Light. They said, okay, we'll pull the trigger on that. Tom, you'll get what you want. They go and get Tristan Wirfs, and now in his second year, he's a first-team All-Pro. So who is right and who is wrong? To go back in time, it's pretty obvious that Tom should have been the overwhelming force of picking offensive players. And if Bill just sits back and says, okay, Tom, what do you want? Okay, we'll try to make that happen. Okay, Tom, well, we can't get this guy because of this contract. What about this guy? Or what do you think about this? And work with it. Have Tom make phone calls to these guys and get them over. Maybe they'll take a little less and stuff like that. And then Bill's focuses on the defense and special teams, and I say that's where he shines. He knows how to put together those guys. On offense, he has no idea what he's doing. And people say, oh, well, what about Bill when he drafted the offensive line, all those offensive linemen? No, that wasn't him either. He wasn't. Bill has even admitted this, that a lot of the responsibilities for drafting the offensive line did not fall on him. So you can't even say that. What about drafting Tom Brady? No, he didn't draft Tom Brady. He was talked into it by one of his assistants. Dick Rabine was the one who was actually pushing for that. So, yeah, I mean, Bill is phenomenal at defense and special teams. He's great at those things and identifying players for that. But when it comes to offense, especially in the last 10 years, you should have given Tom and Nick Caserio the complete, carte blanche or whatever. I know that's a French term. Did I say it correctly? Carte blanche. Give them carte blanche on getting offensive players. But anyway. So Boa, I hope that kind of answers your question. Who do you fire? Who do you hire for GM now? If you took away Belichick's GM duties, or at least limited them to defense, and maybe bring in somebody who only does offense, is there anybody we can trust now? And that you sent that guy away to Houston, and that's Belichick's ego right now, And honestly, I think this is going to sound ridiculous to people, but I've seen a difference in Bill over the last few years with that new woman that he's with. She gets on social media and she talks shit. She was talking about shit about Tom Brady last year. And I kind of scanned over her Instagram and checked it out, and there's just a lot of nonsense and a lot of crap like that, and it's almost seems like she's speaking for Bill, so he doesn't have to, and he's changed a lot, and he tries to do things a little differently, and there's nothing wrong with someone you're with having influence on you, and that's not what I mean. I just mean that his ego has gotten much bigger over the last few years. It seems to be really get out of hand, and I think maybe it's just coincidental, but that ego is kind of what has caused all of this to happen. And they better get it together next year. I know that they better. So, or it's going to look really bad for him. People are they're gonna have a lot of ammunition against Bill if something doesn't happen. So. And the more and more I sit around, I mean, I don't want to piss some of you guys off and stuff, but I think you subscribe to this channel for me to be honest and for me to be realistic and no matter what. And I criticize Tom when he's sucking or does something bad, and the same goes for Bill. None of these guys are above being criticized. They're this is sports, and this is sports analysis, and that's what this is. And otherwise, you're just a super crazy idol worshiper, and not. I think any good fan of a team, any of you guys who are fans, should criticize, and it's in your right to do so. Oh, he's won 6 Super Bowls. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. It still doesn't mean that he didn't botch Super Bowl 52, or things like that. Like that's still a thing, something you can say. And then I also say he redeemed himself in Super Bowl 53. So there you go, but you could still criticize. And the more I thought about it, I've had a lot of time to think, and while I'm watching these other games since Saturday night, and honestly, that was pathetic. That game against Buffalo, that was pathetic. And I want more answers. I want more accountability than just this garbage that he was spewing. And that's Bill, that's how he is. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. And again, before I say this, I'm sorry if some of you guys out there offended by this because you're Patriots fans. Well, I'm a Patriots fan too, but Bill's shtick, that bullshit, that whole I'm not going to answer your questions because I'm so great, I'm so amazing, I'm 6-time Super Bowl champion, so I'm not going to answer your questions. Piss off. Yeah, that whole shtick, that whole routine only works because you're going 13-3 every year, and because you're a threat to win the Super Bowl every year. That's when it works. That's when you can get away with it. But when you are complete garbage, when you sign Cam Newton and are garbage, and then you spend all this money, you spend $150 million, and you get embarrassed on national TV. And don't tell me, oh, rookie quarterback. Mac was the best thing that you had on Saturday night. So what's your excuse now? You can't blame it on the rookie. You certainly can't blame it on the rookie, because if you trade Mac Jones out for just about any quarterback who is not a top 5 QB, top 10 right now, the same thing happens, maybe not not as severe, but certainly Mac was not the one. Mac was not the problem. So basically the problem was everything that you spent money on. So at least give us some answers. Tell us what you did wrong, what you think happened. But he doesn't do that. He talks about do your job. When did he do his job? There's so many times where he didn't do his job. He didn't do his job. And again, Super Bowl 52, he didn't. Where was do your job? Where was do what's best for the team? And sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes it's like, wait, what about this? Tom always did his job. Tom always did what was best for the team. Always, every time. You sent his best friend Wes Welker away. Okay, you sent him away. You caused Gronkowski to retire because you didn't understand that Gronk was banged up. He was aging quickly because of all his injuries, and so Gronk asked, Bill, I don't have to practice all the time so hard because I got the game down. I don't need to do that. And now we see him in Tampa Bay where he's not having to go as hard. There's a lot of times he doesn't have to do the full practices like everyone else does. And look at him. He catches 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. He's always there when Tom needs him. Just this last game against the Eagles, you saw guys out there dropping it. Who did Tom was yelling at them. He said, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Tyler Johnson. Didn't completely run on the route. Tom's yelling at him. He says, run, run. What the hell? You can see it. And then immediately on the next drive, who's he go to? He goes to Gronkowski. So clearly Gronk didn't need all those reps, but Bill had to stick to his, everybody practices. Oh, this is the way we do things and blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. And he did the same thing with Tom. Not as far as practice, but the same attitude of he's just a player. He's a player, and that's it. Listen, you got to make exceptions for guys like that. Gronk and Tom Brady are not just a player. They're not. They are the GOATs of their position, And maybe this is a delayed reaction after Saturday night, but I'm kind of pissed off. And again, if Mac was garbage and if Mac was the reason why they lost so badly, then I could say, you know what? He's a rookie. It's fine. Okay. But no, Mac was actually the actual good parts of the game. He was actually the thing that gave me hope for next year. It was your defense that didn't stop Buffalo once. Not once. And it's not like these ended in field goals. Because, a lot of times that can be a blessing. Your defense gives up some stuff. And then they hold them to a field goal. That can be a mental win for your defense. So that's fine. These all ended in touchdowns. The only time you stopped the Buffalo Bills is when they kneeled down. What the hell? So yeah, this is like a delayed fuse on my part. I think I'm more upset now than I was Saturday. Maybe I was just in shock. So, but I want some answers, damn it. I want some answers. So he's given nothing. And then we have to go a whole summer of seeing pictures of him with his shirt off, his fat gut hanging out, him and his stupid girlfriend. And did you change anything? Did you do anything? Listen, get on the phone, say, Tom, I'm sorry. Tom Brady, I'm sorry. Come back. Come back to me, please. Come back. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Okay, I think I'm having a breakdown. I need to chill.
Like some warm beverage?
A warm beverage? Okay, Sheldon. Damn it. I hate when my shirt is sideways. I gotta. The stupidest stuff bothers me, I swear. You guys okay, I'm going to tell you something. Here at our place, in the pantry, if the products are not facing where the product name is facing me, and the labels on the can are not facing forward, it drives me nuts. So I change it around. And anytime what drives me nuts is when someone takes a cereal box and puts it in backwards, where on the side of the cereal box you see nothing but the ingredients. Why, Milena? Why do you do that?
To remind you of the amount of sugar you consume.
No, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You do that to me just to drive me nuts. It's unacceptable. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. And please stop putting the milk carton backwards. Please stop doing that. I'm working out a lot right now, guys. Okay? So this is therapy for me. So I think she does it just to piss me off. I really do. I think she's messing with me. What is it called? Gaslighting. Is that how it works? Or something similar? Something close to that.
Super chat.
Nice, very nice. Thank you guys so much. See it twice in the $5 super chat. He says Brady's last 20 playoff games, 17-3, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 4-1 record in those Super Bowls, 545 out of 851 for a 64% completion percentage, 6,296 yards, 314.8 yards per game. Damn. 42 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. That is nice. That is a Hall of Fame career. That is a first ballot Hall of Fame career for hell, 20 playoff games, 17-3 record. That's for if two quarterbacks split that, they'd have first ballot Hall of Fame status, and that's just the last 20. He's not even counting what Tom's got 43 playoff games, I think. Wait, no, hang on. He's 35-11, so 46. Okay. It's just unreal, unbelievable, and see it twice. Absolutely, he did the last 20 games, and he's older. He's in the twilight of his career, apparently, when people thought that you're supposed to ditch him and get rid of him. So, hey Corey, welcome, man. Thank you for joining. I'll get on that. We'll talk about moving forward here in a second. After I'm done ranting about the weekend games. So, and we'll talk about the matchups. Make sure I don't miss anybody's super chat, and also the membership chat if someone sends that.
Yeah.
So.
There were a couple of membership chats before. Did you read them? Salami pizza.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I've got. Okay, that's next. Okay. It's weird on my software. It doesn't light them up.
Only lights up the super chat.
Yeah. That's. I'm gonna need to tell Ecamm to fix that because it's hard for me to find them. Okay. See, I can't add it because I can't find it, but I can still read it though. Salami Pizza, member for 8 months, sends a membership super chat. Says 49ers might finish Green Bay with their sloppy run D. Oh, I've got some opinions on that one, and like I said, we'll get to that in just a second after we cover what happened here in this weekend. Jalen, SmackDown H9. I guess that's how you read it. Jalen sends a membership super chat. 12 months. Thank you, Jalen. So Jalen's celebrating 1 year. He says, Bill let Josh score every drive. Goat coach, really? Jalen, it's a bad look, man. I agree with you. It's a bad look. It's it's rough. So, and I've had more time to think on this, and it's just that was pathetic. I saw no effort, and at least Bill did say that. Okay, Bill did say that in his second press conference. I believe it was. Yeah, it was the end of season. Maybe it was that one, but he said he saw no effort, more or less. It was the sloppiest and least passionate game they played all year. And guys, when it comes to things like that, that's where leadership is needed. That's where Tom Brady affected things. And I think that they believed their own hype. I think Bill believed his own hype that he could do anything and that he didn't want to share half and half with Tom Brady. He didn't want to share the credit. as where Tom was willing to. He just wanted to be involved, and we know that because of what Tom said on the ninth episode of Man in the Arena, when he said, I knew regarding the 2019 going into 2019 season, and he said I knew it was coming to an end because things weren't changing. So he was willing to stay if things would change, and Bill's ego wouldn't let him. So at least now we're getting more information on this, and things are starting to come to light. What do you know? Someone in LA killing each other again. Do you know the other day some homeless dude killed this girl who's going to college? Beautiful girl. She's like 22. She's going to be an architect. And he just went into a furniture store where she was working and just killed her for no reason. And then just left. And guess what? They got him on camera. You can't tell who he is. You can't identify him. Mask, glasses, and no one. If this crap was over, they would identify him. But every night I do a show, there's always an ambulance and police sirens going off. I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of it. Donnie, what's up, man? Still, Donnie, you need to email me. I checked your email. I emailed you. I want to know how you're doing. Donnie sends a $10 super chat. He says, I thought I was watching the Tampa defense against the Bills. I know. They were garbage all year for most of it. So thank you so much, man. Yeah, Captain Forever. It's every city right now. Every major, well, not every major city, but a lot of them. So, but it's just annoying. It's not. Huh?
The big cities, yeah.
Especially in California.
New York.
Yeah, well, those cities have a lot in common. I'll let everyone else figure that one out.
Yeah.
No, Terry, you're right. Absolutely, and you know, California is nuts. Okay, so let's just recap. Saturday night I already covered the Bengals, Raiders, and the Patriots, Bills. And so the last time I talked to you, we hadn't talked about Sunday, and then tonight I just got that one done. So the Tampa game over the Eagles, the Eagles just, I don't know if I don't know if Jalen Hurts is the guy for them, and he seemed a bit lost at times. But you know what? I don't even. It's Eagles don't concern us and doesn't concern me that much. I really don't care. But I do want to say that Roman and Zishan was here watching the game with me and Milena, and we were all talking about how the Bucs defense. They were excited. They were passionate. They were after every tackle, after every time they did something, they had that essence that they had last year, that aura about them, just like we're just going to kill anybody we see. Oh yeah, they were amazing as far as the passion and stuff. They let up quite a bit towards the end, and I think that's a mental error on their part, and that's just you got the game in hand. It's a blowout, and for the for the most part, but they had the one thing that you need, guys, and that is passion to play and that excitement and belief. They had that, and that's a good sign. I think that when you've got that, when you've got the mentality going, you can do a lot of great things, even if you're shorthanded, even if you're missing some players. The On offense, a lot of the young guys, they did some of them screwed up on their routes and stuff, but they've got a lot on their shoulders right now. I think they got that one playoff game out of their system where they had to be the starter, where they had to be the man, where they had to fill in Godwin and Antonio Brown's positions. And the running backs had to, Tyree Vaughn had to fill in for Rojo and why do I always want to call him LeGarrette Blount. I swear I do that every time. Why do I do that? It's so weird. Anyway, Leonard Fournette. They're similar to me. It's just very strange. But I think they did a good job of getting all the kinks worked out and that experience. So we should expect them to be much better next week against the Rams. Keep in mind that when the Bucs went to LA, I was at that game, and they were undisciplined. Everything was out of whack. They didn't care, and the Rams were playing as if they were in the Super Bowl. They were trying to make some kind of statement out of this. It was obvious. That was the week, and I told you guys when I did the show afterwards, I said the Bucs clearly were focused on the Patriots the next week because the Patriots game was coming up. They were totally not even caring about the Rams. They did not prepare well to go all the way out to LA from Tampa. This is different. This is now the LA Rams going to Tampa Bay. So it's a different game now. It's a different situation. So people expecting the same thing to happen over again, that's not the case. So if you're going to blast your music, at least make sure it's not stupid. Yeah. So it's going to be a much different game. And, on Friday night's show, we'll get more in depth on, what I think is going to happen there. But it's not going to be what it was in week 3. I know that. That was just a different situation. Even the Patriots got their ass smoked before they played the Bucs. Both, I'm sure you guys remember me saying that. I said the Bucs and the Patriots both were worried about playing each other, and then they both got blown out the week before. So that's what that was. And then even in that LA Rams game, though, I saw that Tom had figured them out. He figured their defense out, started to get that rhythm going, and that was the game that Gronk kind of got messed up. He got his ribs kind of smashed in, and he tried to come back, and he wasn't, he wasn't right. But it's just a weird game. I don't think that really has too much. It's not a very good example of what's going to happen next week. And I wasn't that impressed by the Rams tonight. I just wasn't. It was more of, God, the Cardinals are terrible. Like, they just don't know what they were doing. They look like scared children. They just Why did J.J. Watt go to that team? I mean, why didn't he go to a real contender? Was people not asking him? I mean, were they not prospects? I mean, I'm sure somebody more than just the Cardinals wanted him. I still don't get that one. Damn, Donnie sends a $20 super chat. He says, Bill, please help Mac out and draft for the first time and/or trade for a deep threat wide receiver. He doesn't. Bill Belichick is allergic to that. You know, please, pretty please. This is why Bill won't win another ring if he ever does. If he doesn't do this, just my opinion. If he does not do this, just my opinion. I know, man. It's his kryptonite. Looking for wide receivers. He just doesn't work. Jalen asked Ramsey versus Mike Evans, who wins? Well, it goes back to that thing about Mike. Mike can't win battles where he has to fight for the ball. He'll give up on the play. So as long as he can get open on routes, Tom will hit him. But I think the Rams are just going to focus only on they're going to double probably. And like I said, we'll get more into this on Friday's show. But I think that it's likely that they will focus on Mike and Tom will be able to go to the other guys. The other guys just have to catch the ball. So instead of dropping it all the time. But Mike is not. Him and Michael Thomas, they're very similar. I always say this. They won't fight for it. And so we'll see. And I don't even know if they will put Ramsey specifically on Mike. And that again, I need to really look at the Rams closely and see and then look at what they did last time. I don't remember exactly what they did last time to kind of get an idea of how they would approach this or how I think they might approach this. So I'll be able to give you a better answer on Friday. So if he's getting open, if Mike is getting open and he doesn't have to really contend for the ball, he's great. He's great. He catches it. He does a good job. There's no problem there. But if he has to fight for the ball, I think Tom knows this though. I think this year. I've noticed last year he kept trying to get it to Mike all the time, even if it was a jump ball situation, and then he kind of figured it out. This year he hadn't done it as much, and he went to other guys in that situation. But if he's got Mike open, Mike can get open, and he finds himself like a lot of times. So he could do it. But just imagine if Mike had the mentality of a Julian Edelman. That imagine just how amazing he'd be. Yeah, Pamela, a lot of the young guys, I think they're gonna be okay, and they got some good experience this weekend, So if anything, that number 2 seed and playing and not getting a bye may have been a good thing. It may have been a blessing because if Godwin's not coming back, Antonio Brown's not coming back, so it's not like that would have helped them. And as far as the receivers go, and I was telling Z when he was here, I was like, every time we got into the red zone, I said, let's run the ball. Let's get these running backs, especially because they're replacement running backs. Let's get them going. Let's get them in the end zone, get their confidence going. And that's exactly what Tom did at first. They were running the ball. So everything went well. Like it went well. The only complaint I have is just at the end they pulled they pulled their foot off the gas pedal, and then Tom had to keep playing because Philadelphia scored. But had they, you know, kept their foot on their throats like that, then Tom could have probably checked out and wouldn't have had to keep playing the rest of the game. So but honestly, I cannot stomach a Rams going to the Super Bowl. I can't. I don't like them. I'm just gonna tell you right now. They just bug me. I it's just a collection of a bunch of big name guys that there's no cohesiveness. And again, there's nothing wrong with getting big name guys, but you got to get them where that makes sense. This is just a bunch of dudes collected together, um, and they, not all of them, but a lot of the Rams players, they act like that they're a dynasty right now, and it just rubs me the wrong way. It's really annoying. And by the way, have you ever wanted to punch anybody more than Travis Kelce? I swear, I can't. It's just annoying. No, that I know that's nice and random, but look at it this way. At least the Rams defensive coordinator isn't Wade Phillips. That's a blessing. So Wade Phillips seems to just know how to play Tom. James Johnson. James Johnson says a $5 super chat. Console James Johnson, by the way. He says every time Brady gets a real legit weapon, he wins MVP. Moss 2007, Gronk 2010, Brandon Cooks 2010. So naturally, Bill gets rid of them shortly after. Yeah, I mean, it's like he never wanted. I'm not saying this is what he did, but it's funny. With that, you get the feeling that he never wanted Tom to be the show. He never wanted Tom to be it all. He wanted it to be about Bill, and it is funny how that happens. He always sends away his guy after he wins MVP. And imagine how good you have to be winning MVPs with a coach who is defensive minded, wants to just lock down uh, and be conservative and be very methodical, and then you still win the MVP as quarterback. That's quite an achievement. I just don't think that I, the Rams. Okay, the Rams are going to be expecting it to go well for them again, and they're just going to assume this. Listen, Matthew Stafford is going to throw that Bucs defense some picks. Okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to intercept this dude. They're going to be able to confuse them. They're going to be able to mess with them. So as long as Bucs offense can just get it done, and they did so good against the Eagles where they were taking their time and just getting first downs and converting. Now, like I said, the second half was a little different. They couldn't convert on every time it was third down. They gave up a sack. It was like, what the hell was happening there? And I know Tristan Wirfs was out, and then that Wells guy, I think his name is, kind of came in, tried to fill in a bit, but they were giving up sacks always on third down, and because the Eagles knew what the Bucs would do, they just know that it's so predictable, and that's one thing that kind of annoys me about that offensive system. But you know, hopefully they'll fix that. At least Bruce Arians mentioned it. At least he brought up that they started kind of letting up once they thought they had the game won. So at least he brought that up. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, exactly, Corey. Bill wanted to trade Gronk to Detroit. Like, why? Why would you do that? So you think so little of Gronk that you'd send him there? That's real nice. So Aaron Donald. I just don't like him. I think he's a prick, honestly. And I I remember I remember before Super Bowl 53. If you watch the mic'd up of that, he's trying to talk himself into the game, and he's just saying this stuff over and over again. It's like really bizarre, and I don't know. That just seemed to rub me the wrong way. It was just kind of weird. Like, is he so worried about himself? He's just worried about how he looks, and it just kind of came off like that. It was very strange. It's also like Patrick Mahomes in last year's Super Bowl, in his in that mic'd up episode. Patrick Mahomes says, "Come on, defense, get me one stop, get me one stop, get you one stop. I didn't know you were out there by yourself. You mean get us one stop?" Little things like that. I know it's probably nitpicking, but little things like that, I catch those things when people say that, and I really believe that Patrick was thinking, I look bad, not the team looks bad, or this is not going well, but he was thinking, I look bad, because you saw him out there trying to do hero ball. Everyone praises Patrick Mahomes for running around and doing all this stuff.
He's got torque.
He was trying to use his torque, exactly that torque. He was trying to make it work for him. He was trying to be the man, and instead of just looking for his receivers, running the ball, and just slowing the game down, and not trying to do everything at once. And he wanted to be the man. He wanted to go out there and be the whole show. And these guys, they think like that, and that's going to be something that is going to come back and bite them in the ass sooner or later. And a lot of the young players I've noticed have that kind of element to them. Thomas Allen, Dad, he said before the game, one of the announcers said that Aaron Donald was the best player in the NFL. Uh, no, he's not. Again, that's the let's overrate Aaron Donald. Let's kiss his butt. Whatever, man. It's ridiculous. Yeah, when it comes to when it comes to Dallas uh, and the 49ers game, Dak running it like he did at the end there, that was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And I know that Mike McCarthy said that it was his call. What do you guys think? Do you think that he was trying to save his quarterback? Do you think he was trying to take the blame for his quarterback? I'm not sure. In real time, I thought Dak took it upon himself to do that. Thought it was a good idea. Either way, you've got to know the rules. You've got to know that you have to give the ball to the umpire. He's got to touch it. Everyone knows this. An average fan probably knows this. I I agree that that umpire took his sweet ass time getting down the field. I mean, the moment that play starts moving forward, you've got to go. You got to, especially in a situation like that. But still, he still would have had time if he clocked it if he had handed it directly to the umpire. It probably still would have worked. But either way, that should have never been a situation anyway. You had 2 shots at the end zone if you don't do that play. As long as, it goes, obviously, if it goes incomplete and you don't catch it inside, you got to go straight to the end zone for something like that. But, yeah, that was bizarre. Anyway, the 49ers, as far as the Packers go, that was a bad outcome for them. The 49ers is not a good matchup for the Packers. The 49ers are a team that is built precisely to be able to go to a place like Green Bay and actually win a very sloppy, grinded out game. And that, the Packers rely more on finesse, especially especially on offense. The Packers' run defense is much. I guess there's much left to be desired on that one, but the 49ers is just not what they wanted to see, in my opinion. And if you look at the history now, I know that the teams have changed over the years, but the 49ers always seem to have the Packers number in the playoffs. So I'm really looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be interesting. Hopefully Bosa gets to play. I know he's in concussion protocol. Hopefully he gets to come back. But if I'm a Packers fan, I would not be happy about having to see the 49ers on this one. That is just not the team that you want to see if you're a Packers fan. It's just not a good matchup for them. So as long as they just stick to the game, as long as Jimmy just needs to focus, man, and they just stick to what they do, they can upset the Packers. They actually can. I'm not making a pick right now. Like I said, on Friday we'll do that after I've analyzed all the teams. But yeah, Jimmy's always banged up, Daniel. I don't even focus on it anymore. I just assume that Jimmy G is hurt. He's just always hurt. He's like in a state of injured. So I don't even. It's just, yeah, I know he was having a problem, but yeah, he doesn't even have to be the focal point. Like in the past, he doesn't. That's not even the 49ers game anyway. It is a problem when you don't target Kittle. You only target Kittle one time in the first half. That's probably a bad idea, but still, they have a shot. I see a lot of people, saying that the Packers are just going to destroy them. I'm like, what do you? No, I don't think so. I think they can do something here. So, the 49ers are putting together the team that I thought they would be last year. And we all know that they had a lot of injury problems and stuff, but they're finally starting to look like that team that I thought they would be. And they should have. Okay, I'm not. I say they should have. They could have won the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 54, but at the end kind of fell apart there. But they're a good team, and that's not that far back. They've still got a lot of the same pieces there. So Mike Miller, you think Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers? Really? Hmm. I don't know. I think I have to disagree on that one. I'm not trying to take anything away from Mahomes, but a lot of what he does is schemed out. If you notice, even against the Steelers, when the Steelers defense broke down because they were out there too much. Every time they got the Steelers the ball back, they would go 3-and-out. Boom. They're back out there again. That was going to break down eventually. If the Steelers are not, the offense is not getting things done and moving the ball. But when the Steelers were locking the Chiefs down, Patrick didn't know what to do. He really didn't know. He resorted back to his first instinct, which is to run around and randomly kind of try to do, random crap here and there. But he just didn't know until the Steelers just couldn't hold anymore. But go back and watch that game. Almost every big play was a guy who was wide open by 10 yards, it seemed like. Might as well have been 10 yards. Might as well. In the NFL, being open by 1 yard, 2 yards is open, These guys were out there on an island. And so and again, I'm not trying to say he's not a great player. He's a great quarterback. It's just, we're talking about the difference between him and Aaron Rodgers. If you're saying you'd rather have him than Aaron Rodgers, but I've seen Aaron make these throws and make these plays where a guy isn't necessarily wide open. He can, make that happen. He can read the defense. He can understand the situation when things aren't going well. Patrick, we still just don't know what he's made of overall if he doesn't have Andy Reid, scheming everybody open. And again, I'm only saying this if we're comparing him to Brady or Rodgers or guys like that. So now compare him to other guys, then I wouldn't even bring that up. So that's how it works. So. Did we have a super chat I missed?
Yeah, James Johnson.
Oh, James. Consul James Johnson says a $2 super chat and says Rodgers has never beaten the 49ers in the playoffs. Nope. No. And in fact, he's been destroyed by them 2 of those 3 times. I think 2 of them were blowouts, weren't they? So, and that's what I was referring to earlier, that when he meets the 49ers in the playoffs, it's not been good for him. So. Yeah, he's 0-3, I believe. Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers? Who would I take over? I'd take Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees, again, another great player, great quarterback, but a lot of his production, again, was offensive scheme, first of all, Sean Payton, but a lot of it was a lot of throwing, a lot of what I call empty calorie stats, meaning a lot of it didn't translate to winning football and the end result. I don't care if you're constantly racking up stats all the time. If it's not resulting in something, if you're not getting like Matthew Stafford, for example, he's a great example of this. Look at his career. He's got a lot of stats. He's got a lot of accumulated numbers, but they didn't translate to anything. As of right now, Matthew Stafford is Jared Goff on the Rams. So Jared Goff's still accomplished more for the Rams than Matthew Stafford has. So it's still, all those numbers and everything still has yet to actually convert to something meaningful. And when we're talking about greatest, if we're comparing greatest players of all time, now we're having to really, really be nitpicky and really get into it. When it comes to Drew Brees, I think that's kind of the problem there. And that's why I wouldn't put Drew in I don't even know if I'd put Drew in my top 10 quarterbacks of all time. I don't think so. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, Mahomes is mobile, but sometimes that can be a detriment. That having that instinct to always want to move around and play kind of hero ball, that can hurt you, and that can actually make it to where you're not forced to learn how to read defenses and forced to learn how to know where to go with the ball and stand in the pocket and just do what you need to do. And if he can develop that, then that's great. But so far, he's not changed at all. I thought after the Super Bowl that they would use the offseason to kind of work on that and change it. But then they came back in week 1 of this year, this last season, and nothing had changed. They just kept the same formula. So still no evolution as far as that goes. But, again, we're talking about the difference between two very, very, very excellent quarterbacks. So that's when you have to kind of really look at every little detail here. But if I had a team, for example, right now, I said, okay, I've got 1 year. Can't worry about the future. The future doesn't matter. So that would eliminate whether they're young or not. So it's just 1 year. I'm still taking Rodgers over Mahomes for that 1 year. If I need to win a Super Bowl, I remember it would also depend on who's your coach, what scheme are you running, what are the players around you. Then we'd have to worry about all the other stuff. But if we just take an average team, let's take a middle of the road team. Let's say, okay, how about this? If we had the Raiders, we had the Raiders roster, okay? I'd go with Aaron Rodgers. I would expect Aaron Rodgers to do more with the Raiders right now than I would expect out of Mahomes. Elliot sends a $5 super chat. He says in 2021, Mahomes threw 38 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, but Rodgers threw 48 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions with significantly lesser talented players. Is Mahomes really better? Yeah. So I mean, it is true. I mean, Patrick does have a lot of great players around him. So, and again, but I even not just the players though. I think it's Andy Reid, man. Andy Reid has made every quarterback who's ever played for him, he's made them look like superstars. He's made them. It just doesn't matter. Every quarterback he's had has looked great. That's what he does. That's his thing. So it's something that has to be mentioned. It's like defensive players look good and under great defensive coaches, and offensive players look good under great offensive coaches. It's just how it works. Montana and Steve Young benefited from the Bill Walsh way of doing things, and it works. So then you got to see what they're made of outside of that. Wait, what are y'all talking about now? By the way, Elliot, I think you meant 2020.
Yeah, he did.
I think Rodgers threw 48 touchdowns in 2020.
He did.
Oh, okay.
He corrected himself.
Oh, all right, cool. Blacker asked me what would be my argument on Brady versus Rodgers teammates. Well, right. Aaron Rodgers has a really good team right now. A lot of good players. Davante Adams is better than any receiver Tom Brady's playing with. I would take Davante Adams over Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is the best player, best receiver on the team right now, right? So, or do you mean career or last 10 years, or do you mean right now? Just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. So someone's saying something about Marino versus who? Marino versus Russell Wilson? That's an odd pairing. Yeah, Elliot. Yeah, Devontae. Elliot says Devontae Adams is better than every receiver Brady has had except Randy Moss. And keep in mind, Brady only got Randy Moss for one prime year, one excellent year, which was '07. And then by '09, Randy was kind of already unhappy with his contract and all that crap. So, and then Tom was just getting back after his injury, so it wasn't that great. But there's a lot of times, guys, throughout history where a player will have perhaps, you know, better numbers and maybe from longevity and things like that, or they could be better, uh, like specifically better at what they do than another guy. That happens. Like a lot of people consider Emmitt Smith the GOAT of running backs. I happen to think Jim Brown is probably the GOAT of running backs. And if it's not Jim, I think Barry Sanders is the best running back I've ever seen in my lifetime. Jim Brown played before I was born, so I never got to see him and experience it in real time. But when you get to watch a player and see them week in, week out, like Barry Sanders, like I did with Barry Sanders, I think that he is the best running back I've ever seen. But Emmett's got the rings and he's got the rushing yards and the longevity, and Emmett didn't quit. So kind of works in that favor. And it's like Jerry Rice also. Jerry Rice is considered the GOAT of wide receivers, and he has longevity, and he's got the rings as well. Have I seen better wide receivers, like a complete package of a wide receiver? Yeah, I have. But what does that matter when they didn't, have the other attributes that were needed, and that is something that Jerry has. Randy Moss is a great wide receiver. Terrell Owens is a great wide receiver. Calvin Johnson, all these guys, they're phenomenal, just absolutely amazing. But then you've got the freak, Tom Brady. What is it about Tom that is different? Every time you put guys together and you compare them in their positions, even eras, okay? You always have it always seems to be the one guy that's got the longevity and or maybe he has the rings or maybe he has something like that. And then the other guy has stats and raw talent. And then you have to debate like, okay, who's better, but wait, who's greater? Greater and better are I guess a lot of times people think that they're different things. Okay, whatever. We'll work with that. Tom is both. So Tom, you want the stats, you've got them. You want the crazy numbers, you want the personal accolades, the personal awards, you've got them. You want the Super Bowl rings, you've got them. You want the leadership, you want all that. You want going to a different team and winning, you've got that. He is that one guy that embodies both sides of the argument when people put two guys together and they're trying to compare them. He's both. It's crazy. There's nothing you can say wrong about him, you know? I know it's said before, I just want to repeat. In the 80s, it was, is it Marino? Is Marino better than Montana? Well, Marino had the tons of yards and he, all the flash and all that, the fancy stats, but Marino had the rings, Tom is both of them. Huh?
Not Marino had the rings.
What?
Not Marino had the rings.
Montana had the
Montana
rings.
had the rings.
What did I say?
Marino had the rings.
Oh, sorry. Okay. No, I meant, yeah, obviously.
But
Yeah, Montana had the rings, Marino had the stats. Tom's got both.
right.
It's crazy. It's just absolutely insane, And that's why I just don't understand why anybody can say that Tom's not the GOAT. I mean, that's funny. Okay, so you guys know my documentary, Montana versus Brady, and we have some guys that comment on there, and they are diehard Montana fans. Actually, they're not fans; they're worshipers. Like it's insane. But they're so stuck in the past. You should go to the comment section of the Montana versus Brady if you want a really entertaining time here. Just select most recent sort it by recent comments, and just enjoy yourself. It's absolutely ridiculous. But all they ever talk about is era of how tough it was. Oh, Joe Montana, Tom Brady could never survive in the 80s. You understand that Tom Brady is 6'4" and 220, right? I mean, do you not understand this? Like somehow they think that you can't take Tom Brady and put him in the 80s, and what kind of logic is that? You do realize that Montana was kind of a fragile dude, right? He's like a little dude. That's why he was always getting knocked out all the time. But or comparatively speaking, little. So these people, I mean, where they come up with this stuff, but Tom has completely buried that whole thing. That whole, it's just not even, it's not even a conversation anymore, really, or it shouldn't be. Bo Omega sends a $2 super chat and says, which wide receiver would Bucs go after and second running back? Corners? What are you referring to? You talking about in the draft? This upcoming draft, I'm assuming? Blacker, yes, yeah, that guy, yeah. His name used to be Mike Montana, and then I kept chastising him over it because I said it makes it look like that you think you married Joe Montana and you took his last name, and so he changed it to the GOAT number 16. But yeah, that guy, he worries me. If you guys remember, I was talking about him one time, and it was a while back. It was in the early days of the show, I think, and I said if you guys, it was strange. The night of the show, I said, if anything happens to Joe Montana, if anybody tries to kidnap Joe Montana or does something, we know who to go to. It's that Mike Montana guy, right? I said that as a joke. Later that night, in the middle of the night, Joe Montana was babysitting his grandbaby, and somebody broke into the house and tried to kidnap the grandkid
Wow.
that same night. How funny is that? Like I was like, whoa, that's bizarre. But yeah, that guy is who I was referring to when I was joking, of course. But yeah, he constantly just worries about, oh, the it was tougher in the 80s. Well, guess what? In the 70s they used to, well, the guys from the 70s used to call the Montana's 49ers a bunch of pansies and things like that. They were considered soft, and you can keep saying that. Now, the funny thing is they think that Tom Brady was a rookie apparently in 2015. They keep bringing this up. They don't understand that the first 10 years or nearly 10 years of Brady's career was the headhunting era. They kind of calmed it down, I guess, towards the end of that decade, but that was worse than the 90s. So it was way more dangerous. I mean, it was out of control. So, but yeah, this guy, I always invite him to debate me. He won't, of course. But he lives in my comment section. He's lived there for years. And it's not just my comment section, it's every Montana Brady video on YouTube. If you watch any documentary about Montana or Brady, you'll see this guy. It's crazy. So, but they live in this whole world where all the only argument is about the rules and how the game was last year. And this is the one thing I've tried to get across to these guys. If you notice in the documentary, I didn't spend any time on bulk stats. I didn't put like, oh, Tom Brady's career yards versus Joe's, I didn't focus on that stuff because those are bulk stats, and I was taking into consideration the era difference. So bulk stats alone is not enough. And I've said this before, in 20 years, if they're still playing, guys like Jared Goff and for example, or Carson Wentz and people like that, if they keep playing, will have big numbers too. It does, you've got to take that in consideration. So I don't even bring that up. I bring in all the other things that matter, because when you're trying to compare a guy like Joe to Tom, we're talking you've got to look at every little thing. And bulk stats is not exactly something that I would care about when I'm comparing guys out of different eras. You just can't really do that. But there is one thing that transcends all eras, and that's winning. Winning is winning. So their argument is, oh, well, you could hit the quarterback more in the 80s. All right, well, Joe's defense gets to hit the other quarterback as well. So you're still facing the other guy. It's not. They make it sound like Joe is playing Tom in this weird universe where Tom's defense can hit Joe, but Joe's defense can't hit Tom. It seems to be how they think about this. But no, Joe's defense still got to do the same things to the other quarterback, and the other quarterback still had to deal with that. Just like now, if Tom is benefiting from the rules and the offensive rules and how things work right now, well, the opposing quarterback Tom is going against gets that also. They benefit from that also. So Tom has to keep pace with that other quarterback. So it's what difference does it make? What matters is how are you against your peers. We take that into consideration and then match that to how the other guy was against his peers. We put them together. And then that's how you evaluate it. At least that's where you start. So they don't seem to understand this. It's interesting how no matter what, they keep going back to that whole physical thing. And again, if Tom Brady, you put Tom Brady in the 80s, he would get smashed. Really? That's strange. I mean, that's really bizarre. I mean, how come Marino and Elway seem to survive that? That's interesting. Why did they survive? No, Joe got injured a lot. He did. And some guys are injury prone. Tony Romo was injury prone. Does that make Tony Romo a wimp, or something? No, it's just some guys, their their body just breaks down easier, and some of it's luck, some of it is just how you get hit, you know. Like Joe Theismann, if Lawrence Taylor just is an inch off in one direction or something, or just a little less force, then maybe Theismann, you know, doesn't have a career-ending injury. You know, sometimes that's just luck. It's just, you can't do nothing about it. But they think that Joe constantly getting hurt and getting injured is some kind of badge of honor, and that means automatically that he's greater somehow. It's so bizarre how they think that this is a good argument. It has no bearing on anything at all when you're talking about two guys like this. It just doesn't make sense. Terry Bradshaw went through more punishment than Joe did. So I don't hear them saying this about Terry, The guys before Terry had it worse than that. How far back do we have to go here,
BDS.
Yeah, Brady derangement syndrome. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, and then one thing, Black Ops, uh, they seem to focus. They seem to focus on my age. They keep mentioning my age, which is strange. And then they mention other people's ages. I noticed that they talk to other people and they use the reference kid. Hey kid, you know. They say this to a lot of people in my comment section. I'm just wondering, like, what is that? What does that mean?
Because they don't have a good argument.
So because you're young, it doesn't mean that you don't know how to analyze the game, analyze the sport.
Yeah.
Did they think that someone younger than them can't look up Joe Montana games and stuff? I mean,
Or someone younger than could be.
yeah, it's weird. They think that just because they're older, they all of a sudden that gives them credibility. They think that adds to their opinion and that makes them the expert on it just because they were around at that time.
Yeah. At what age exactly do we start getting?
Exactly. I know.
Is it 60? Is it 85?
Well, yeah. Well, they think I'm in my early 30s, so
President it could be.
It's just so they dismiss everything I say and dismiss everything in the documentary because they think I'm some young kid who's only watched Tom Brady. They don't understand that I grew up watching Joe Montana, and I believe that Montana was the GOAT until Brady. So until Brady took that from him.
Age doesn't matter.
But they seem to like Luke R. He got into a conversation with them in one thread, and they kept referring to how Luke was, and Luke told him his age, and Luke's a pretty young guy, and they used that against him, and I'm just like, what? Luke is killing you right now. He's destroying you in this argument, and all you have to say is age. It's just this way of thinking. It's the Al Bundy effect. Remember, guys, I talk about that in one of the Brady Hate episodes. The Al Bundy effect. That these guys have that complex, that Al Bundy complex. Back in my day, it was blah blah blah. Whatever, man. Whatever.
Hey, we got a couple of super chats.
See it twice. Oh, this is funny. See it twice since the $2 super chat and says, "Get off my lawn!" Quote Mike Montana, aka GOAT number 16. Absolutely, see it twice. Get off my lawn. That's basically what they're saying. It's funny. So, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they have not debunked or said anything that in my documentary that was factually incorrect. They keep saying, I see a lot of comments that say that my documentary is not factual.
Without telling you how?
The only thing I can remember that wasn't factual, and I made a correction in the comments or in the description, is that I gave Joe Montana an extra MVP.
Oh.
That's I wrote in the graphics, I put that Joe had 3 MVPs when he has 2. So if I guess if that's the factual error you're talking about, I did get Joe too many MVPs. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's what you're worried about. But they never have anything to say. They just say that, but they don't say why or what is it that I'm saying that's incorrect. I don't get it. And after you debunk these guys and you basically destroy everything they say, guess what they resort to?
Age.
Well, no, I'm talking after they've already used age and after they've already used the era thing. Then they resort to listing every one of Tom Brady's Super Bowls and then why Tom won them based on a technicality or something that he didn't deserve. Like they'll write 2001 Tuck Rule, for example, or 2003 John Casey kicks it out of bounds. 2004, I can't exactly remember what they would say about that, but they'd say Spygate or something stupid, right?
They'll always find something out.
Yeah, 2014, they didn't run Marshawn Lynch. 2016, the Falcons choked. 2018, Jared Goff sucked or whatever. And now it's with the Bucs, it's Tom has a stacked team or whatever, as if Joe Montana didn't have the stacked team of all stacked teams, right? My God, are you kidding me? That's what it's just unbelievable how ignorant these guys are.
Did you read VonAllen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, he sent an extra one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bo Omega sends a $5 super chat and says, "Is there a free agent wide receiver?" Okay, is there a free agent wide receiver Bucs should sign for going into 2022? Or draft a running back with Lenny or corners. Weakest spot is depleted corner position. Thoughts? Yeah, well, I don't know. What is Godwin's contract situation? I'm not sure, but they're definitely going to have to do something about that. And I don't know. The draft is so unsure. I'm always for going after free agents, sure things. If they're within reason. I'm not talking about giving them like a insane amount of money, but if they're willing to ring chase, basically, I'm much more interested in doing that. I think maybe the Falcons might be willing to shop Calvin Ridley, and if they could do that, that'd be nice. As far as drafting a running back, I couldn't tell you. I don't watch college at all, and I only evaluate the college players right before the draft. So in the off season, I kind of look at them and see who's out there, and I mainly focus on quarterbacks. But I could tell you, should they draft a running back? Not necessarily. It depends. It depends on the situation with Rojo. In the past, he's shown that he can get things done, and it depends on how they feel about him. And then Vaughn, he seems to be showing signs of being pretty good. So I don't know. But yeah, corners definitely, absolutely, yeah. Get off my lawn. That's funny. Okay, Austin, thank you. So Godwin's on the franchise tag. Yeah, so he'll probably be gone. Yeah. So Boa, definitely they would have to do something there. Antonio Brown. Hell no. I don't want him anywhere near Tom Brady. I don't want him in the same city. I don't want him in the same state as Tom Brady. That guy, screw him. All right, guys. I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for being up so late. I know a lot of you guys are in the Eastern time zone, and it's 1:20 in the morning for you guys. I really appreciate all of you. We will see you back here on Friday night for VAS Live. Me and Milena will see you then. And don't forget, Saturday we also have not only we have playoff games, but we have our MMA show with the new UFC. We have Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, and me, Roman, and Jason will be covering that. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Appreciate you. Again, Friday night. See you then. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.